Mabu, hi, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea, a channel for marriage-minded men. I've started what's going to be a 2 or 3-part series on the 5 stages of marriage. I'm a big marriage proponent. If you've seen some of my 1,670 or so videos in YouTube, and I have YouTube playlists there as well. Been married for 10 years, and we've been going through these stages, predictable stages, as we mentioned last time in our 10-year plus marriage. And so I want to encourage people to get married, but I'm not going to tell them that it's always going to be easy. I'm going to tell them it's going to be rough. I'm going to tell them that it may be, check back in 5 to 10 years and let me know if they are in love with you. Because this term "in love," most people don't know what love is and how difficult it is to give. And so don't make the assumption that they love you just because you're in that first romance stage. That really doesn't mean anything to me as far as if that is really love or not. So the last one, if I do these in order, release them in order, was the first two stages. Romance stage, number 1, disillusionment or familiarization stage. Number 2, stage 3, here we go, the power struggle stage. Leave a comment if you can relate to this. This stage is also known as the disappointment phase or distress stage. As the characteristics from the disillusionment phase intensify, whereas the first stage it wears off into the disillusionment stage, well, now they're saying the characteristics from that disillusionment phase intensify. They become harder and harder to deal with. You'll most likely begin to pull away from each other in this stage, and many can attest. At this point, you both still believe that conflict is a bad thing, but you are increasingly aware of your many differences now. You fight to draw boundaries in the relationship in this power struggle stage, the third one, and as a result, even small annoyances become big issues. It's coming. This is the stage where you define unacceptable behavior, and most couples have occasional or frequent thoughts of leaving the relationship. More and more often you start to feel like your partner is self-centered or uncaring, or even worse, that they simply can't be trusted. Deep resentments begin to build if you're unable to resolve your issues in a respectful and mutually agreeable way. And many couples, they say here, get stuck at this stage because this way of interacting becomes normal in their relationship. And this is when it is absolutely necessary to learn to manage your differences effectively, to communicate and work together as a team, even though it's tempting to believe that your partner's sole purpose on earth is to make your life difficult. Not surprisingly, this is a stage when most couples are in that they decide to break up or file for divorce, this power struggle stage. However, if they're able to negotiate all of the landmines during this phase, they will move on to the stability stage. So now things begin to change for the better if you can be resilient and committed and hang in there. Stage 4 of 5 is the stability stage. Now, they didn't say here how long these stages go through, but I'm going to just guess that this power struggle stage could start around 4 or 5 years, maybe even 10 years. And the stability stage could be anywhere from 10 to 12 or 14 years. It's going to be different for every person, but you will work through these stages, and probably slowly. Stage 4, stability stage. This is a restful and peaceful time compared to the last stage. This stage, stability stage, is also known as the friendship phase or reconciliation stage. Some couples never make it to this stage 4, stability stage, but the ones who do find that they have deeper feelings of love, connection, and trust with their partner. You now have history together, something you don't have when you're just starting out. And most people begin to rely on the predictability of the relationship. As you enter this stage, you begin to realize that your partner isn't perfect. I'm assuming you might have figured that out a long time before, but your personal differences aren't quite as threatening as they used to be. You're able to resolve most of your differences, at least to some extent, and you become more confident in the relationship. Some people feel a sense of loss in this stage as they learn to accept their partner for who they truly are. Sky. Since this means they have to let go of the fantasy that was established early on in the relationship. But for those early feelings of butterflies and excitement, this is also when you begin to reestablish your own outside interests and friendships, which were given up in the romance phase. There is some danger that you may begin to drift apart from or become bored with your partner in this phase, so you should try to maintain the connection that was created in the romance phase. Overall, this is the stage when you finally begin to feel comfortable and happy with your deepening relationship. I'm going to wait for the next video to round this out. So again, the romance stage followed by the disillusionment stage, the power struggle stage, and the stability stage. Going through these stages, I want people to expect it, anticipate it, because it's just the way human beings live together. You know, you're going to have to go through some conflict, I think, with each other eventually. And a lot of times relationships are broken off before you get there. When the going gets tough, some people just quit, or they realize or they think they've made a mistake. My position has been, what somebody taught me was that when God puts two people together, they are the right person. And so when the going is tough, I think it's helpful to say, well, especially if you're a Christian that, trusts God, you can say, well, God put us together back on such and such day when we got married, gave our vows, put us together. We are one. We are stuck together. And a divorce just rips that relationship apart. It's like yanking an arm off or a leg off. It's just going to be a lot of blood and carnage and pain. And that's what divorce does. It's a terrible, terrible thing to endure. And so I think it helps to just know that things are going to get rough at some point. You have to kind of, like I've said before, die to self when you get married, because your ego is not going to be helpful to you. And there's a lot of pride that causes the struggles that people go through when they're going through the difficult stage. And, like I've said many times before, you want to put the other person first. Philippians 2:3 says, in lowliness of mind, regard the other as better than yourself. Now, I messed the words up there a little bit, but the point is to regard others better than yourself. Be humble. And if that's your perspective and you believe that God has put you together regardless of the hell that you're going through at the time and all the frustration and confusion, well, you're not alone, because this is often the normal part of relationship at some point in time. Why? Because two people that are married are sinners. Even if they're sinners saved by the grace of God, they're still sinners, at least while they're alive, and relationships can be difficult. But those couples that have lasted a while, and I know some people divorce even after 20, 30 years, but those that do things the right way and can reach this stage 4 that we left off with, the stability stage, restful and peaceful time, they say, compared to the last stage, well, they've learned to survive those salvos and their differences and learn to work through those differences and work as a team for harmony. And it's a very wonderful stage. And I can see after all the turmoil of the other stages that when you reach the stability stage, you don't want to go through that again. You want to learn and stay on the right track. And that's what we're going to conclude with next time here, the commitment stage on Love Beyond the Sea.